there's some misunderstanding, some misinformation going around regarding why we're all staying inside, what the point of the quarantine is. Seems to be an impression that when we all stay inside, we can just get through this thing as quickly as possible and get back to work. And it's important, I think, especially for gig professionals and fitness professionals, to understand that that's actually the exact opposite of what's going on. So I wanted to take a second and just explain in a little bit of detail what it means when we're flattening the curve and why we're all staying inside. So if we call this line time, April, May, June, July, and we call this number the total number of people affected by the virus. We say this number underneath this line is how many people a hospital can sustainably treat. And I put down here kind of the average running statistic, which is that if people get to a hospital and can be treated, mortality rates are around 1 to 3%. If there's no hospital, it's closer to 5 to 7%. So let's say 1 million people are going to get the virus. Now, if they all get it in April, and then it dies off, as we can see, we've got a tremendous amount of people that can't get to the hospital. Let's say this number represents 250,000. That means 1 million people, or a little under 1 million people, are going to not have access to a hospital. That means, let's see, 750,000. It's going to be a little under 40,000 people will die. Not counting the 1% of people here, which, I'm bad at math, 2,500 people. The strategy is we flatten this curve out. So the same 1 million people are going to get it, but the goal is if we can keep that curve around this line for 4 months, and then it starts to die off, it means our grand total of people who die is closer to 7,500 as opposed to 40,000. Here's where it's getting serious, guys. Potentially what happens is, as this number continues to string out, we develop people with antibodies who can't get the virus again. And so the longer this goes, the more people have antibodies, and the closer we are to this tapering off. Now, what we're discovering about the virus is that you can still be contagious without symptoms, without carrying the virus, which means this is going to taper off for a while here, but we're going to see it resurge in September, October, November, December, somewhere in there, when we're going to have to do all of this again until we get as many people treated as possible in the hospital. But the goal here is not get everybody home and then we're all better. The goal here is keep hospitals as capable of dealing with this virus as possible to keep the total mortality count down so that fewer people die. In other words, if we all stay home, this takes a lot longer to get through, but ultimately fewer people die. We need to be planning on months, not weeks.